The video is about Debitage, the Rodney Dangerfield of artifacts. Every piece we come out of here with is an artifact, whether it's a prize or not. Everybody's digging and sifting and searching for the big prize, the big fine arrowhead, which this one here came from my cornfield. But that's what everybody's looking for, the big fine piece. But 99% of the pieces you find in here are going to be debitage and just things that came from making arrowheads, flakes and chips and other things that was here in the camp when these people used to live and sit around a fire. There's a charcoal pit right here, and as you're working toward it you find stuff, and then you find the charcoal, and then you'll work around it on all sides, and it's just like when you used to sit around a campfire camping. People used to live like that, and for some reason in human history, sitting around a fire and throwing things in the fire is just what humans do. That's what they did back then too. We used to call this the best camping place on the property, and I think they've been saying that since archaic times. The things I find in here are from probably the Poverty Point transitional time, early woodland 1000 BC on over to 1000 AD-ish. We find everything in here from Tangipahoa, Pontchartrains, all the way over to Collins and Bayou Gula, if you call it that, Mississippian type, late woodland, early Mississippian. But here we're talking about the debitage. This stuff always just gets thrown in a pile, gets no respect. Everybody looks at it, throw it in a rock pile. And we're going to give it a little respect and make a show about it. Everything here is flaked off of rocks. The prehistoric people sat around making their everyday tools and arrowheads and things like that, and they were busting these rocks apart. There's one they were working on, checking it out, see how it flaked off. Another one, and you go finding these flakes, even the smaller pieces. Those are pressure flakes. They're fine tuning one to when you find the prize. That's what comes from it. Little flakes, chunks. I call these anvil stones, iron rock pieces they might have used for a hammer block. But we're going to go through show you all this stuff. There's a pile there all over here. There's a bucket full of it here. And I've got 3 or 4 times that much stuff. I got a little truck over here with it in it. The Tonka truck has a history I'll tell you about. The flood came through here in '16. There's 2 Tonka trucks in here under the dirt. The flood filled my hole up and I had to find it and dig it again. There's 2 Tonka trucks. One of them's in the woods and one of them's under this pile. This is the one that I found, and that's what I throw chips in. So there's more debitage. This is in the last month. You go through there and you find things and throw it in the spot and keep up with it. Over here in the woods, you're finding stuff in this loamy dirt. That's where I found that smoker Pontchartrain. I'll show you. But show debitage a little respect. Every one of them, usually, I'm not going to count them and label them and box them, but there's a lot of interesting things in here. Let's give it a little bit of attention. Pieces and flakes and the things that are here before the arrowhead gets here. Welcome back to the channel. We're looking at debitage today. Buckets full of flakes, chips, chipped rocks, and all the things that came from while these people were sitting around making arrowheads and tools and living day to day. Everything we see here laying here came out at the sifter. And we go through all of this to look for the prize. And this is the Rodney Dangerfield of artifact hunting. It gets no respect. No respect. How many pieces do you see here? 50,000. Charcoal, iron rock, anvil stones. We find rocks like these come from heat treated caches. You could bust them. All these rocks were in the camp. Everything over here. for all of these pieces. It's all no respect. No respect at all. Just to find 10 arrowheads. I've already sifted probably 80 dump trucks loads of dirt over 17 years. And I have this much debitage plus 3 times this amount. I have buckets full of it and cases full of good stuff. But out of one perfect arrowhead, there's probably 500 or 600 pieces of artifacts. So I'm going to say it's 1 to 600. Show it a little respect. It's some nice looking material here come from the creek. But here we are again down here putting in the hours in the dirt hole. Getting hot and sweaty. It's kind of getting hot, but I'll show you what we go through and find to get to the prize. We don't find arrowheads and beautiful things every time, but we find a lot of stuff. We call it debitage. We get the sifter out and we go through these piles and piles of dirt. I've already sifted probably 80 or 90 truckloads of dirt in 17 or 18 years in here, and I've got a lot to show for it. But we got a lot of debitage too. Debitage is all the flakes, chips, and things, everything that comes out of the hole. That's not an arrowhead, but the stuff that the arrowhead comes from. These pieces are all pieces that they chipped off of rocks to get to the arrowhead. Probably got 500 or 600 pieces of this compared to one arrowhead. So we sift through it, and everybody wants to get to this. They want to get the prize. That's the piece they're looking for. It's a nice piece that came from a cornfield, not from here. This is older than this site. And we just find flakes and chips and everything that comes from. Here's a piece there, they flaked it off, and you find these flakes that could have come from that very rock, you know, showing people all this stuff. People who've never done this don't know what this is. But these people used to sit around these campfires. There's a charcoal pile over here, and you work around where they used to sit around the fire and work on stuff, just where they lived. And they would make this stuff as a daily thing, living. And this is the result of it. And we go through here looking for the beautiful arrowhead, and this is what we find on the way. Anvil stones, somewhat probably hammerstone, matate kind of stuff, and then we get the charcoal. This charcoal here is probably 3,000 years old. They could check it and find pollen in it and tell you how old it is, but that's too expensive. But you go through here and you find the little flakes. Thought I'd give it a little respect. It doesn't get any respect. It just gets thrown in a bucket. You get all the pressure flakes. Every little flake that comes off an arrowhead, I find in here before I find the beautiful piece. I don't give any glamour shots to debitage. We take them beautiful pictures of the arrowheads, and boy, everybody loves it. But nobody glamour shots a pile of chips. So I decided to give it a little respect, since it's the Rodney Dangerfield of artifacts. I got buckets, 3 or 4 like this, and all kind of trays full and boards with it on it. I got pebbles and rocks and flakes and preforms and chips and all the stuff we find. But I was just giving it a show so everybody would know what we find while we're looking for arrowheads, and how much of it compared to the arrowheads we find. Everybody wants that fine piece, but you got to find the rest of it that goes with it. The Tonka truck has a story. 2016, water came through here and flooded this field. I had 3 Tonka trucks in here my son had when he was playing as a kid in here. I got 4 or 5 different sifters under here. I've already been through several, but 2 of the trucks one got washed off into the woods and one of them's buried in here somewhere, and I found this one. And it's been down here the whole time. I just throw chips and flakes and debitage in there too. That's the Tonka debitage truck. But we'll get back. We're going to keep things coming, trying to show people what this is all about. Just giving you a little rundown on what we go through to do it. Hours of digging, and it pays off when you find that smoker pontchartrain or the Tangipahoa laying on the ground. I hope you enjoy it. We're trying to bring you stuff that you would enjoy. Thanks for watching.